The first dead giveaway of someone possessing abnormal brain power is their complete and utter refusal to engage in internet arguments. While an average person might spend 45 minutes typing a multi-paragraph essay in a comment section just to prove a complete stranger wrong about the ideal temperature to cook a steak, the highly intelligent person scrolls right past. They have realized that winning a debate against someone with a pixelated anime profile picture yields absolutely zero real-world currency. Closely tied to this is their bizarre, almost refreshing willingness to casually admit when they have no idea what is going on. Instead of hastily pulling up Wikipedia under the dinner table to fake expertise on global geopolitical supply chains, they will simply stare at you blankly and openly say, they do not know. This takes a shocking amount of self-confidence, mostly because pretending to know everything about everything is the default defensive setting for the rest of humanity. Then there is the beautiful misunderstood concept of strategic laziness. Modern society loves to glorify the hustle mentality, constantly painting inspirational pictures of tech executives, waking up at 4 in the morning to take freezing ice baths. But genuinely smart people are inherently lazy in the most mathematically optimized way possible. They will easily spend 3 grueling hours writing a complex piece of code or automating a mundane spreadsheet, just so they never have to spend 5 minutes doing that repetitive task again for the rest of their natural lives. They put an enormous amount of effort into doing absolutely nothing. And when they are doing nothing, they are usually observing. You can easily spot them at parties, assuming they even bothered to show up. They will be the ones standing near the snack table, completely silent, watching the chaotic social dynamics unfold around them, perfectly content to remain a silent background character. This constant silent observation naturally leads to a rather twisted, unconventional sense of humor. Highly intelligent people almost exclusively traffic in dark, cynical jokes that make regular people nervously chuckle while subtly looking around for a responsible adult. Because their brains process absurdity at a ridiculously rapid pace, they find the inherent tragedy of everyday life absolutely hilarious. When they are not accidentally offending their extended family at Thanksgiving with highly morbid observations about the economy, they are probably caught whispering to themselves in the grocery store aisle. Talking to oneself is heavily stigmatized by people who think it means you are completely losing your grip on reality. But for the highly intelligent, it is simply a practical way of untangling the web of thoughts constantly spinning in their heads. They essentially become their own most reliable sounding board, even if it makes them look like a supervillain quietly plotting over a shopping cart full of discounted breakfast cereal. Of course, all that impressive brain processing power comes with the heavy, inescapable tax of crippling overthinking. The highly intelligent do not just make simple decisions. They simulate 14 different parallel timelines for every minor choice, up to and including what kind of sandwich to logically order for lunch. By the time it is actually their turn to order, they are emotionally exhausted. Because of this chronic overanalysis, they are famously reliant on the adrenaline rush of procrastination. A smart person will stare at a looming deadline for 3 solid weeks, completely paralyzed by the overwhelming desire to do the task perfectly, until the sheer terror of impending failure violently kicks in at midnight, before the due date. They then ride a massive wave of pure cortisol to magically complete a month's worth of work in 6 hours, somehow receiving high praise for the final product, which only tragically reinforces this terrible cycle. When they are aggressively procrastinating, they are rarely just staring at a blank wall. Instead, they fall into bizarrely specific informational rabbit holes. A highly intelligent person cannot simply wonder how a mechanical clock works, and leave it at that. They will inevitably lose 4 unbroken hours reading about the history of maritime navigation, completely forgetting that they originally sat down just to pay their overdue electricity bill. Their brains basically crave obscure data like oxygen. Yet, paradoxically, this insatiable hunger for complex information entirely overrides their ability to retain basic, fundamental life details. The exact same person who can flawlessly explain the theoretical implications of quantum entanglement to you will routinely forget where they parked their car, frantically search for their phone while holding it, or walk into a room and stand there for 2 solid minutes trying to desperately remember why they entered in the first place. This amusing disconnect from everyday practical reality also makes them pathologically allergic to standard small talk. Asking them about the weather or their weekend plans is physically painful. They really do not care if it might rain tomorrow, and they simply do not have the energy to politely pretend they care. They would much rather bypass the pleasantries and fiercely debate whether free will is an illusion, because regular society operates almost entirely on the lubricant of mundane small talk. Highly intelligent people often feel completely out of place. This persistent feeling of alienation leads directly to massive, crushing imposter syndrome. Despite mounting objective evidence of their own competence, they constantly feel like frauds who have somehow just tricked everyone around them into believing they are capable. They look at completely average people who are objectively foolish yet brimming with seemingly infinite confidence, and they deeply wonder what secret manual of the universe they somehow missed out on reading. The final, perhaps most undeniable habit of the highly intelligent is their remarkable willingness to actively change their minds. While a vast majority of the population treats their personal opinions like precious family heirlooms that must be fiercely protected from logic at all costs, the smart person views their own beliefs as temporary software updates. If you present them with new data that entirely contradicts their worldview, they will simply rewrite their internal database, silently admit they were wrong, and smoothly move on with their day. This profound cognitive flexibility is the ultimate cheat code to navigating life, allowing them to effortlessly dodge the rigid ideological traps that catch absolutely everyone else. So, if you ever find yourself quietly talking to yourself while violently procrastinating on a major project by researching ancient Roman dentistry, casually wondering if you are secretly a massive fraud while utterly refusing to argue with random strangers online, you might just be part of this elusive club. Either way, you clearly watched this far just to avoid doing something genuinely productive with your time. If this unexpectedly validated your questionable life choices, I am taking donations in the form of subscribes to fund the next video.